Starting the recording. So welcome everyone. I am so excited to connect with you all today. If you want to share something that you're grateful for in the comments or in the chat, I would love to hear that. Starting off in the beautiful energy of gratitude. So we have so far enjoying lunch at the moment. Very nice. Lunch is so good. Grateful for feeling great and releasing from sugar. Awesome. Celebrating you for that. That's amazing. And if you also want to share where you're at in the world, that's also super fun to hear as well, to know where everyone's joining live from. So I'm also streaming to Facebook. So if you're in Facebook and you want to see us on Zoom, you can just go to one of my previous posts and jump in to the Zoom room. I'm going to open it up for questions at the end. So that can be really fun to connect after the main content's done and get your questions answered or whatever support that you're needing. Currently in New Brunswick. I know another person's in New Brunswick here. I'm in New Brunswick here. I have a lot of East Coasters, which is fun. So this is the How to Have a Pleasurable Business with Time and Financial Freedom Masterclass. So I'm going to ground us into an abundant pleasure first to begin so we can all land together in this space. So I invite you to close your eyes if you're able to. If you're driving, definitely don't do that. And just take some deep, deep, deep cleansing breaths. And begin by scanning your body from the top of your head down and simply noticing where you're at in this present moment. And if you notice any areas that want some extra love, you can stretch or do some hip circles or pleasurably touch your body to support wherever you need some extra love in this present moment. And I invite you to do any touch that feels good, massaging touch, light touch, sensual touch, if you're in that space today. And give yourself permission to let your body feel even 1% more pleasure. And while you're feeling pleasurable touch on your body, in whatever way that you're being guided to in this moment, I invite you to feel into your future where you fully have the most pleasurable business for you, where you get to have the exact time and financial freedom that you've been desiring. And let yourself really explore who's there with you, what environment are you in, what types of clients do you have? Breathing into the best possible reality of this. If you had infinite magic genie wishes, what would be here for you? And you can continue with the pleasurable touch on your body, on your skin. If that feels distracting at any time, you can stop it. You get to choose your own adventure here. And let's get into some more nitty-gritty details. What does time freedom look like for you? If you really feel into your heart and soul, is that working 20 hours a week? Is that working an hour a day? Just feeling into the season and the ideal time freedom for that season. Because it can change. like the seasons that we have, 4 main ones, or it can change depending on the season you're in, if you're in a big launch mode in your business, or if you're more in fulfillment, or if you're traveling, or if you're having little babies, or if you have different priorities. Just getting a sense of what time freedom in one main season is for you and a couple seasons. And if you had that, how would that feel? And notice how that feels in your body. If there's excitement and joy and relief, or if there's any nervousness or contraction or part of you that's like, that's impossible, that could never happen. Welcoming all parts of you. And feeling into the corresponding financial freedom during that season. And what that means for you, if that's a full-time income, working part-time hours, that's 6 figures, if it's multiple 6 figures, just breathing and feeling into that for you. And what are you doing in that season of financial freedom? How does your business feel? How does it feel working with your clients, working with your team if you have team? And if you woke up tomorrow and you had this level of financial freedom, how would that feel? And really letting your body show you all the feelings here. All the excitement or euphoria or bliss with that. And again, any, like nervous thoughts or feelings that would be overwhelming or you couldn't handle it, or sadness that you wouldn't have XYZ things in your life anymore. Just noticing what comes up in your body with that as well. Giving yourself permission to be with whatever feelings are arising with that. Enjoying all the good vibration feelings, giving space and noticing any quote unquote negative ones. And if you shift your awareness to who you become with this time and financial freedom, just notice what insights you get from connecting with that future version of you. Noticing what skills you have now, what shifts in your energy or your mindset have occurred. Feeling into who you get to be now, what you embody, having your most ideal time and financial freedom. And as you deepen your connection with this future version of you, I invite you to ask any questions that are coming up for you as you connect with them. You want to ask who's there, what you had to let go of, what you had to do, what you invested in, how you prioritize your time, whatever questions you may have. Give you another minute or so. Ask your question. To get any more insight of this future version of you. And then we can begin to close this connection for now. You can express gratitude or thanks to that future version of you in whatever way you're called to. And you can ground this feeling, this experience into your body, into your heart, if that feels good. Then when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. And I'd love to hear in the chat or in the comments if you're on Facebook streaming, how's that feeling for you? Getting to connect in. And again, anything is welcome. If it felt amazing, awesome. If it didn't feel so great, awesome. I'd love to hear where you're at. Powerful. Awesome. And am I from before? I think that's for the location piece. Is that like states geography right now? Is that Minneapolis? I'm trying to like Michigan. Thank you. I'm Canadian and I love traveling to the States, but I'm not all there with all of the geography. Amazing. I felt releasing, like things falling away. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. So before we get into the agenda and all the things that I have planned and prepared, I'd love to get to know you all a little bit better. I'd love to know where you're at in your business. If you want to give me a sentence or two there, if you want to say like who you're serving or how many years you've been in, or if you want to share freely what your like financial reality is or where you're going for that, total free choice there. Stark contrast from the reality to what I desire to be true. Thank you for sharing. And even if you're watching on the replay, definitely comment in Facebook or YouTube or wherever you're watching it. I definitely love understanding my audience better, knowing where you guys are at, and tailoring content specifically to where you're at right now so that it can be best support you. Or if you want to pop in, like, what's a big challenge that you're facing right now? We're going to do a lot of healings and clearings today. So if you want to pop in a challenge that you're facing or desire that you have, I'd love to hear those as well. I've been a coach since 2013, but I just started on my own with erotic blueprints. Yay! Celebrating you for that. I know I'm a teacher and I'm building that out from quote unquote traditional teaching to speaking in public and developing new content. Lovely. Thank you for sharing. Learning to embrace my feminine power. Awesome. We will definitely get into feminine energy for sure. And by feminine energy, we're meaning like the softening, the leaning back, receiving more, trusting, and I'll just use feminine for simplicity's sake. Helping people heal and feel better. Lovely. Attracting clients is where I desire growth. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. We can definitely do some support on that. We're even going to do a visualization and clearing and visibility piece on that. So I'm excited for that. Me too. Not being afraid of my empath tendencies. Thank you for sharing. Beautiful. I love getting to know y'all more. Okay, so during this masterclass, you're going to receive lots of healings and clearings to release old limiting beliefs and stories that have been holding you back from having the most optimal success in your business. You're going to be able to discover how you can expand your capacity to receive with ease, intentionality, and inspired action steps. Learn how to be your fully lit up and abundant self with a pleasurable life and an overflowing cup, and boundaries that most optimally support you, and how you can learn some of the important areas in your business to master so that you can have both time and financial freedom. I know a lot of people feel like you can have one or the other, and I'm here to say that you can definitely have both. You'll also receive a visibility and throat chakra clearing so that you can speak to and attract in your most ideal clients. And towards the end, I'll also offer a consensual next step solution if that's feeling good for you to stay to the very, very end. And then we're going to do some open Q&A. So if you have any questions, you want to jot them down, definitely do that. And we'll get to all those towards the end. And if you have anything specifically to what I'm like talking about while we go through, you can also ask your questions as we're in that energy. I love to make this engaging so it can be super supportive for you. And if you're unfamiliar to me, I am Laura McPhee. I'm a speaker, healer, and coach, and absolutely love to support other coaches and healers and heart-centered entrepreneurs and practitioners so that they can increase their impact and income in the world with pleasure and overflow and financial and time freedom. So I'm a theta healer. We're going to do a lot of theta healing clearings today because I find that's so easy to just jump right into our subconscious belief systems, clear them out so that they no longer bother you and realign you to your highest truth and your highest self. So that's super fun. I'm also a master Reiki practitioner. So that's going to be some of our body block clearing energy. So that visibility and throat chakra clearing, we're definitely going to get into some Reiki energy with that. I am a Tony Robbins Master University grad, so I definitely have the like masculine energy pieces and the like grounded 3D human reality steps to do. I'm also claircognizant and an empath and a reflector. I'm also an erotic blueprint coach. I've mentored with Jaya for 2.5 years as well in her sex mastery mentorship as she was switching from being the lead in the erotic blueprint world to more philanthropic ventures. So I'm a lead coach intern in that world. I'm trained in accelerated evolution. I was also an accountant. So I have my Bachelor of Business Administration and have like the money piece and the profitability and cash flow and all those things, which tends to help a lot of light workers who are like, I'm really creative and flowy and all the things over here and love my feminine energy and want to like be a coach manifester. It's like, and we have to do the like grounded 3D human work of like understanding your numbers and having a healthy relationship with your money and your finances so you can have a thriving, profitable business, again, with the time freedom and the financial freedom. And what I notice, unfortunately, a lot in the coaching world, particularly, there tends to be an extreme that people fall on where they're like hustle culture and they have financial success, or they're like really in the flow of feminine energy or like sexuality, space energy, and have more time freedom, but they don't necessarily feel like their business is consistently supporting them in their life. So what I like to do is have a harmony or union, however you want to like feel that in your body, between both, that you can have the masculine and the feminine, that you can have the time freedom and the financial freedom. So we're going to get into lots of yummy stuff here. So we're going to start off with clearings because that's always super easy to just clear out the top shit that's like holding you back right now. So if you want to pop any negative stories or belief systems in the chat that have been bothering you, I'm also going to take some of the pieces that you guys just shared so that we can really get deep in anything that's holding you back. And I'm not going to share your name. This is like recording will go out to other people, but I won't be saying your name. So you can feel free to also private message me in the chat if you're just like, I want these things cleared too, so that we can really go deep here and serve you best. Okay. So I'm also going to just tune in to the energy of everyone who's live and who's watching the replay. And you want to clear, release, and let go of any and all junk, negative energy, negative emotion, frequencies, or thought forms that have been holding you back from both time and financial freedom. That you can clear, release, and let go on all levels, any and all old habits or unhealthy habitual patterns that have been keeping you stuck or in a rut or in a groove that you're now ready to release yourself from on all levels. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. No. And you want to know who you are and what your life looks like and feels like when you get to step into that highest version of yourself, the version of you that you felt into earlier, who has both the time and financial freedom that is in harmony for you, and that you can honor the shifts and changes that occur from that, depending on what season or cycle that you're in individually in your life and business right now and in the future as you continue to evolve and grow. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And I kind of just jumped right into the healings and clearings. So for theta healing, it just goes right into your theta brainwave. So we clear out the unconscious beliefs that aren't serving you there and realign you with your higher power's truth. So I like to use higher power. You can, in your brain, translate that to God, creator, source energy, the universe, Mother Earth, Gaia, whatever you like to call your higher power. Okay. So do you want to know what it looks like and feels like to lean into and embrace more and more of your feminine power, of your feminine energy, and what that looks like and feels like to also harmonize it in and create union with your divine masculine energy as well? And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And sometimes people go from one extreme to the other. I totally did that. I went from like corporate accounting world, climbing all the ladders, high achiever, A+ student, all the things, do, hustle, working overtime all the time, to like the other extreme of like coaching business, free time, travel, pleasure, all the things. And then I had to like harmonize it is how I used to frame it. Now it's kind of more like creating a union with both the divine masculine and the divine feminine so that they can support me most optimally. And that's been amazing for my clients as well to find what theirs is. And there's no cookie cutter thing. It's like, depending on where you're at in your business during the day, during the week, during the months or years, you can have different energies that are best supporting you. So when you're in a creative space and you're like, okay, what's for me to share to best serve my people, or what am I going to launch next, or what program or offering am I going to do, or what I'm going to speak on, when you're in more the feminine energy, the creative energy, or if you're like, I'm ready to receive more, if you're in the feminine energy of like expanding your capacity to hold and receive more, that can be like, okay, I'm a little bit more leaning on my feminine in this moment. If you're a little bit more in the moment needing to like go do the thing and sit down in front of your laptop and get the thing done, or show up even on a harder day where maybe you don't really want to, but you like made the commitment and you want to, like deep down in your soul. So you're going to like show up in integrity with that. Then it's like, okay, well, maybe in that moment, you're like 95% masculine energy, 5% feminine. And in other moments, you might be 60-40, and it gets to flow. And I like to use kind of the metaphor of like making a smoothie. So on certain days, you might want it a little bit sweeter. You want it a little bit more fiber or protein, or a little bit more like berry flavor, a little bit more something else. You can make it intuitively. So that kind of also flows into moving into our inspired action steps. So tuning into our body, because our body always knows best, our highest self always knows best, and being like, okay, in this moment, what energy will best serve me? What flow will best support me in this moment? So you can be like, okay, I'm going to be a little bit more 80-20 in this moment. I'm going to be 10-90, wherever you're flowing, and giving yourself permission to, because I find that sometimes people can get stuck in a belief system that this is just their identity, that I just need to like work and hustle 80% of my business and be 80% masculine energy, 20% or less, maybe feminine. And they just get stuck there, or they go a little bit more on this extreme and they're like, I just want to like have orgasms all day long and flow and travel and not ever look at my bank account or send any messages to anyone to like enroll new clients in the future. So there tends to be just like a level of extreme that people can get in a habitual pattern of, where they're like, okay, I've relied on this, or okay, I've relied on this. And my invitation is to play, and yes, I said play, with the energy of, what if I did a little bit more of this? What if I did a little bit less of this? What if I did a little bit more of this? And just finding what works for you, instead of being like, it has to be perfect, it has to be this one XYZ cookie cutter thing, to give yourself total and free permission to be like, okay, it gets to be what works for me in this moment. And even if something worked really well for your last launch or last year, this time in your business, doesn't necessarily feel that it will always, always, always be exactly what you need this year. So giving yourself permission to play with it, just like you would the smoothie. You'd be like, okay, this is like a little sweeter than I wanted it to be. Okay, I'll put some more of this in, or this ingredient, and let it be playful, that you can just keep choosing what you desire from what your body's sharing with you. Okay. Really wanting to expand my capacity to receive money, inspiration, and motivation without overwhelm. Awesome. So do you want to know what it looks like and feels like to have just that, with your higher powers, truth, wisdom, knowledge, perspective, and understanding? That you know what it looks like and feels like to safely expand your capacity to receive more money, more pleasure, more attention, more views, without the overwhelm, without draining yourself, without burning out, without exhausting yourself, and that you know who you are and what your life looks like and feels like doing that. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And you want to know what it looks like and feels like through your higher power to feel safe attracting in your most ideal clients. That you know what it looks like and feels like to speak to them, to connect with them, that you're worthy and deserving of that, and that you can most optimally fill your private and or group spots with those ideal clients in the most effective and efficient way for you. And if you would like that, you can say yes. Mm. Beautiful. It's definitely feeling a lot more open and clear. So another thing that can get in people's ways that's also really useful to clear through subconscious limiting belief systems is tuning into your money ceiling. So if you want to muscle test it to notice where your money ceiling's at in this present moment, you can do your thumb and finger together. If you have a particular way you like to muscle test, you can muscle test however you want. I like to do thumb and finger together and use the other ones as kind of like pliers. So muscle testing works because our muscles get a little bit weaker when we say an untrue statement. So when we're lying to ourselves, our muscles get a little bit weaker. So then we'll open for a no, and it'll stay strong for a yes. So I'll do it like this, and I'll say, my name is Laura, and it stays strong. Make sure that that is looking good. So you guys can try that as well. Or if you like standing muscle testing, however you want to muscle test, you can muscle test. And then if I say my name is Jack, it opens. So I'm just using these fingers as a plier. If I say yes, it stays strong. If I say no, it breaks. So you can muscle test what your money ceiling is. So you can muscle test, I have a money ceiling of $5,000. I have a money ceiling of $20,000. And I don't have those money ceilings, so it's opening for me. But you can tune into like, okay, what's the highest amount of income you've had in a month or in a year if you want to play that, and tune into what your money ceiling is there. Because unfortunately, especially as women in the world, there's a lot of glass ceilings that are taught and unconsciously told to us. So I really like to clear those energies out so you can get to your next level. And we never judge what we find in our subconscious. We didn't like intentionally put it there and be like, yes, I would like a shitty belief system about money and having a money ceiling that's really low. That sounds great. We didn't consciously choose that. It just subconsciously got into us because especially between the ages of 0 to 7, we're little sponges. As we go throughout our day, we tend to unconsciously pick up other people's stuff, the societal or collective belief systems of whatever culture that we're in. So it's just being aware of those things, loving and accepting whatever we discover in our muscle testing, knowing that we can clear it and release it and have a more optimal one. Okay, so if you want to let me know, maybe like yes in the chat once you've gotten a number where you're at, like with your money ceiling. So if you want to like test a really high number, like 200K, you're like, okay, then you can test above or below, and then kind of get a little bit more clear of where your money ceiling is if it didn't just come through to you. Awesome. My money ceiling seems to be 500 to 600K per year. Beautiful. Good awareness. And then we're going to do some clearings to release those money ceilings. 30K monthly. Lovely. So do you want to know what it looks like and feels like for your higher power to release and let go of the glass ceilings, the money ceilings, the stories, belief systems, or identities that have been holding you back or that have been keeping you stagnant in your capacity to receive and hold money? And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And you want to know who you are and what your life looks like and feels like, feeling safe to expand your capacity to receive even more money, what it looks like and feels like to ground that into your system, and that you get to choose your own adventure of doubling, tripling, 10xing your capacity to receive even more. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And also a conscious piece that's coming through, just because you like 10x your like capacity or window for receiving money right now doesn't mean that like tomorrow you have to 10x your revenue unless you want to. That can now be like the spaciousness that you have. We can also remove the money ceiling completely. Sometimes people in their unconscious get contraction with that because then they're just like, well, then it's infinity, then anything's possible. And then that's like overwhelming in a negative way. So if that doesn't feel good for you, you don't have to accept this next one. But if you would like to release your money ceiling on all levels, to know that you are an infinite being that your capacity to receive gets to infinitely expand with you in a safe and most ideal way for your optimal health and vitality, you can say yes. And you want to clear, release, and let go of any and all nervousness, fear, constriction, negative energy that came up through tuning into your money ceiling, tuning into any past stories or experiences that you've had that were quote unquote negative with money, that you can just clear, release, and let go of that on all levels and receive an instant healing from your higher power around that space. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And you want to clear, release, and let go of any and all other scarcity belief systems or unhealthy relationships that you've been having with money. And know what it looks like and feels like to ground into the truth that you are the creator of your reality, that you get to choose whatever your heart and soul desires and receive it, that you can be a healthy, good steward of money, that you can hold it and allow it to grow in your presence, and that you can also safely circulate money in your world. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And you want to clear, release, and let go of any and all other fears that have come up for you in your business: fear of failure, fear of success, fear of looking like an imposter or failing in any XYZ area in particular. And if you'd like to clear those on all levels and resolve it on a history level, you can say yes. Okay, and then we're starting to flow into the next one. And this always happens on my master classes or whatever class I'm really doing. The energies flow really well. So I love, this is like an example of, I have structure, the masculine energy of tuning into an outline before. And then when I tune into the energy of everyone live and I follow my intuition and the flow of the energy, it all tends to work really well together. So you get to have both. Okay, so the next piece is discovering how to expand your capacity to receive with ease, intentionality, and inspired action steps. So I'm going to talk about the inspired action steps first, because this is where people tend to like miss the mark, because they'll just go off and do a thing, or they're going to follow some mentor's XYZ cookie cutter model or formula that has worked for other people, and they don't necessarily tune in to themselves first. So I'm going to really, really, really encourage you to begin the practice of tuning into yourself and what your next best step is, what your inspired action step is. Because even though for some other person, ABC, ABC, ABC might have worked amazingly for them, doesn't necessarily mean that ABC will work for you. Maybe you need ACQ, like maybe that's what you're at. So honoring our inspired action steps tends to release and let go of all the like unnecessary pieces that get people frustrated, that just don't work for them, that people like hit their head against the wall with. So when you instead tune in to yourself first, you get to feel into, okay, does that feel aligned? Does that feel restrictive or constricting in my body? Does there feel like there's something off? Could I take step A and make it a different flavor or put it in a different timeline? Like, how does that feel for me? Because unfortunately, I see a lot of coaches, healers, practitioners look at other people and get stuck in some comparison or shiny object syndrome, where instead of just tuning into their steps, creating the plan for themselves, and then moving in those baby steps, they'll be like, oh, there's a shiny object over here, or oh, this other really cool person that I like said to do this today. So they get like knocked off balance almost. So I'm going to encourage you to allow yourself to focus inward and to really, really, really honor what your body is saying is your next step over what other people say. So like there's also downloads coming through for that. So do you want to know what it looks like and feels like to do that? To trust your body, to trust your intuition, to trust your highest self, to know what it looks like and feels like to repattern and regroove any old habits of searching outward or going externally for validation or approval or next step, and know what it looks like and feels like to ground even more deeply into finding that within yourself, into hearing it more clearly from your highest self, and that you know what it looks like and feels like to ground into the truth of what your inspired action steps are as you continue to grow and evolve and expand in your business. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And you want to know what it looks like and feels like to honor those inspired action steps, even when a part of your brain thinks that you're crazy, or other people in the external world think that you're wrong or crazy or doing something weird, that you can be in full alignment with your internal voice first and foremost. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. Feeling more light and more open. So then the piece on expanding your capacity to receive, there's a number of ways of doing that, and bringing intention to it will tend to show you a lot of areas where you're a little bit like constricted in that space. So for some people, it's really cool to just notice where there's constriction in receiving in general. So do you ask for support from people? If people offer to support you, do you say yes? Do you get clarity on what their request is, or how much space or bandwidth or time they have? Like, how do you currently work with receiving support, with receiving money, with receiving treats, with receiving pleasure? There's so many areas that you can tune into. So I invite you to like do that now and close your eyes and just tune into where there might be some constriction or blockages in your capacity to receive. If someone compliments to you, do you say thank you, or do you tend to shrivel up and be like, oh no, like this is, no, oh, it's just an old shirt, it's totally fine? Like, do you push it away? Do you receive it well? And for me, when I was really focusing on receiving more, I noticed so many areas in my life where I had some constriction and nervousness and really uncomfortability with my capacity to receive. So I worked on it in the order that it was coming up for me. So I focused on receiving more compliments. When someone said something lovely, I'd say thank you, or like, thank you, I received that, and like actually take a moment and breathe it in and receive it. When I was out with people and they wanted to treat me to lunch or dinner or coffee or tea, I was like, yes, thank you, instead of the old parts that were like, no, I want to pay my way and I don't ever want to like be a mooch, or like all the like 50-50 programming I had. I worked on those parts as they came up to be like, okay, that's interesting. Where does that voice come from? Where does that part of me that wants to like close off and say no come from? What's that part need? Doing inner child healing work sometimes really, really, really is supportive for this. And then it was extra fun to move into receiving more pleasure, because the energy of sex and money is so similar. And I can't get super deep into all the juiciness on this because we're also streaming to Facebook and censorship is a thing. But I've noticed for myself and all of my clients that when they intentionally expand their capacity to receive in the bedroom, either through self-pleasure or pleasure with partners, they notice that very closely linked to the amount of money that they're able to receive more of. So for me, I have an awesome story where back in like 2019, I was really intentionally working on my capacity to receive. I just done a sales course, and my like highest month at that point was the 6K month. And then I was like, cool, now I'm on vacation mode. I did the Path to Passion erotic blueprint event in person, met an amazing guy. We started dating. I like went to Portland and we just like had sex for 2 weeks, like basically in a row. I totally expanded my blueprint, got super shapeshifter fed, and it was amazing. And I just fully enjoyed life, really deepened my capacity to receive more, receive more, receive more, multiple orgasms. And through all of that expansion, I literally came back to my business and I had a 20K month. And that's basically unheard of. It's like, okay, well, after a 6K month, maybe you have a 10K or 15K. And I was just like, no, the literal thing that was holding me back was my capacity to receive So me expanding that, physically embodying it, intentionally working in that space allowed it to expand. And I've had so many clients who get to like celebrate months with me where they're like, I have multiple orgasms and I have all these different people signing up in all these ways, and all the expansion with money and pleasure. So those are very, very linked. I want to go even deeper into it. So maybe my next masterclass, I won't stream to Facebook so that we can do some more like juiciness there, but we're going to honor that we're streaming to social media and they like things more PG. So do you want to know what it looks like and feels like through your higher power to allow yourself to open and expand your capacity to receive in whatever way that you're feeling drawn to, in whatever way that you're best called to in this moment, and that you can allow there to be even more ease and love and grace and support on your journey of doing that? And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And if you'd like a little piece of homework for that, especially of like bedroom pleasure, you can be like, okay, cool. Can I add another 5 minutes to my self-pleasure practice? If I usually let someone go down on me for like 5 minutes, can I double it? Can you triple it? Can you play with like baby steps for yourself? And maybe the intention is 5 minutes and then another 5 minutes and then another 2 minutes, and like expanding that so that your body can like from a cellular level get the energy of expanding capacity to receive. And if it's 1 minute at a time, it's 1 minute at a time, and celebrate that, or 30 seconds. So whatever feels good for you, I invite you to do that if that homework is feeling fun for you. Okay. So our next section, moving right along, is learning how to be your fully lit up, abundant self with a pleasurable life, overflowing cup, and boundaries that most optimally support you. So there's a lot of inner work in that. It flows into the piece that we were talking about before of like embodiment, and even the pleasure first that we began with today, like tuning into ourselves, our beingness is what draws in super amazing soul line clients, like who we're choosing to be and like shine our light and attract in from that place is so much more in alignment than from a headspace of like, oh, I think I should. Oh, if I do XYZ, then maybe I'll get this XYZ goal. So the beingness is like from your center, from your core, from your heart center, from your soul, like whatever verbiage of that feels good for you. That's where the magic happens, when you're being who you're meant to be on this planet. So sometimes that's doing the inner work of getting clear of like what doesn't serve you and what does, what things to let go of, what things to add in, so that you can really honor who you're meant to be in the world. So there's already downloads coming in. Do you want to know what it looks like and feels like to clear, release, and let go of any and all masks, illusions, old stories, old identities, old judgments that have been holding you back from being your best self? And you want to know what it looks like and feels like to embody who you're meant to be on this planet with love and pleasure and ease? And if you'd like that, you can say yes. So then a conscious piece for that is the intentionality of having a full or overflowing cup, because when you serve yourself first, it's exponentially better for you and everyone around you, and people are drawn to it, and it's a win-win-win upward cycle kind of piece. So I'm like, there's two different paths that I'm feeling called to. Let's do the first one. So if you tune into your own life right now, what could you do that would overflow your cup, or even fill your cup up 1% more? And just tune into that. If it feels good to like close your eyes or put your hand on your heart, there might be a couple things that come through. And then do you want to know what it looks like and feels like for your higher power to have the capacity, the bandwidth, the energy, and the time to add this piece or pieces into your life, into your world, into your habits, your patterns, your day-to-day life? And if you like that, you can say yes. And then you want to know what it looks like and feels like to create whatever boundaries and rituals you need to honor your time, your space, so that you can have the time freedom that you're desiring and that you can truly serve the world from an overflow space. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And then the boundary piece here is super, super, super important, because I tend to draw in and attract clients who are very similar to me. So they also tend to be or have been in the past. And we just keep cycling through lessons and layers of people pleaser energy, overgiving energy, being fixers or saviors. So there tends to be that energy in my space. So do you want to clear, release, and let go of all those old identities, unconscious habits, patterns, belief systems, and stories that have been holding you back in your business on all levels? You can clear, release, and let go of that now, and that you can feel safe in moving forward. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And you want to know that it's time, safe, and that you're able to create and communicate healthy boundaries to the humans in your world that need them. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. So I love that like different things are coming through now that we're like in the energy. So for yourself, you can tune into if you need more boundaries in your personal life, or if you need more boundaries with your work life right now, with clients, or the time or energy that you're giving there. So you can do this for both. If one's feeling stronger, you can focus on that one first. Because I get to see it all. I get to see single moms who are having trouble having the boundaries with whoever is in the house at the moment, with their kids, with like setting time aside specifically to work on their business, especially in the summertime where like they could spend more and more time with their kids. And then I also see it in the work piece where coaches and healers want to over give to their clients, where they're available all the time, where they go way over on their time and their sessions, where they give access to themselves to people who don't even pay them way more often than they should. So there's different layers that can come up. So I invite you to just get clear and just go inward for a moment and notice what feels most strong for you. If the area of boundaries that you need to work on right now tends to be more in the personal realm and creating it with people in your inner circle, or if it tends to be with clients and business and projects, just tuning into that. Because otherwise it can be super overwhelming to be like, oh my God, there's like a million and two things to heal and work on and fix and do better. And it's like, we can pause, we can take baby steps and just feel into like the one area that you're feeling called to focus on. So then with that awareness of where you're choosing to focus on, do you want to know what it looks like and feels like for your higher power to get clarity on what action steps to take with that? What it looks like and feels like to get deeper clarity and truth on what you were getting from overgiving in those areas in the past, and that you know who you are and what your life looks like and feels like, feeling safe having the boundary, holding the boundary, and communicating the boundaries to whoever needs them in your life right now, and that you can continue to strengthen internally your different skills and characteristics that you need to, and identities, so that you can hold stronger and stronger boundaries and new standards in your life and energetic standards in your life, so that you can draw in more and more humans who are fuck yes to your boundaries, who are excited that you have the boundaries, who feel safe that you have these boundaries, and that you can also energetically raise the vibration of your space by communicating these boundaries to the humans who are already in your inner or outer circles. And if you'd like all of that, you can say yes. So if you want to make a note somewhere so that you have whatever like one baby step you're going to make in your boundaries, so you can have that commitment to yourself to be like, okay, I'm going to say no to XYZ person. I'm going to clarify that when I'm working during these hours, I'm unavailable, or going forward, I'm not going to be available, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. So whatever you're feeling called to, if you want to make that commitment to yourself, if you want to share it in the chat, I'll celebrate you in the chat or in the comments on Facebook or wherever you're tuning in from. I always love celebrating people, which is a whole other side piece. And I'm like, I did not put that on the agenda today. And celebration is also like an awesome part of our business, because I'm like, I'll touch on it a bit. Sometimes people will only celebrate their big milestones. If they're like, I want to be 10K in my business or 6 figures or whatever, like they'll wait to celebrate that time instead of celebrating and amplifying the energy every step along the process. And even celebrating our failures, because our failures are part of success. Like having that energy of celebration all throughout allows us to have like a joyful, thriving, fulfilling life, which is really awesome. Okay. Better boundaries and focus on my inner world. Yay. Okay. Limit when I check work emails, restrict to certain hours. Yay. Celebrating you both for your commitments. Okay. So the next piece, and I'm going to touch on it at kind of like a high level. I've done previous masterclasses on some of these pieces, and I could go on for hours and hours and hours and days and months and years for these pieces. So I wanted to like at a high level touch these ones, especially because I don't tend to see them talked a lot about in all the different communities that I'm a part of. So I know that there's different humans from different worlds who signed up for this. So I wanted to like touch on it at a higher level so that you could at least be like, okay, do I want to dive deeper on this piece here? So the learning about some of the important areas of your business to master so that you can have both time and financial freedom. Again, I was just noticing in a number of circles, they have one or the other, and they don't tend to really well embody both of them all of the time. So high ticket sales is such an important piece for that for me, because when we have high ticket clients who also tend to be like low maintenance, which is great, then you can have a consistent flow. So if that's your high ticket client in private, or if it's a high ticket group, then you can be like, okay, awesome. This is supporting my business. And then you can have overflow in other things that you do. If you want to do lower end offers or free offers, if you want to write a book right now, if you want to do all of these other things, when you have the consistent high income from these pieces, it's so much more easeful for you to be impactful in all these other areas and not be resentful that your $20 workshop isn't paying the bills when you did a $20 workshop first instead of a high ticket client. So this was really amazing for me in my business, because I started off doing hourly sessions that were like $35, $70, $100 plus-ish an hour. And then I was like, okay, this isn't working. It's totally burning me out. I was doing tons of workshops in around of a month, and it was in person too. So there was travel involved. So it was just like overwhelming and burning me out. But then when I switched to packages where I was able to support people in sessions and outside of our sessions, it was amazing, because it was a win-win for my most ideal clients who wanted that extra support in between the sessions to carry on more momentum and celebrate their homework getting done, or letting me know that they were having challenges with homework or getting healing downloads to move them forward, whatever they needed. Having those higher ticket programs allowed me to continuously increase my rates, so that I was able to have more and more time and space for the time freedom, for serving people at different levels and layers, for having more and more free masterclasses and podcasts and shows that I was doing. So that's what I tend to focus on the most with humans that come into my world, is the high ticket sales, so that you can be like, okay, the focusing the energy on getting one client here is so much more beneficial than getting one or two or five $20 masterclass workshop type of clients. And if you want more information on this, I have previous masterclasses that I've done where I've even like done the numbers in spreadsheets on the computer to be like, look, the energy of this doesn't work. I did it my first year in my business. It almost burned me out. I don't recommend starting off with low end. Starting off with those higher tickets where people have more optimal packages and access to you and the number of sessions or VIP days, that is a hell yes for both of you, tends to be the much better area to structure it. And then you can work on other things. And I work in containers and worlds where other people do that too. In the erotic blueprint world, Jaya has $1 million packages for her clients. And then she gets to do pro bono work, and she gets to have lower end group programs, and she gets to serve people at other levels because she did the high end first, because that like serves the bottom line. Then you get to have overflow financially in the other areas. So I did a number of masterclasses earlier in the year talking about high ticket sales and pleasurable high ticket sales. So if you want more information on that, you can put it in the chat or email if you're watching this on the replay, and we'll send you out access to those other masterclasses that were free, so you can get those and go deeper in there if you want to like focus your energy on that right now. The next piece that's really, really important and that I find people tend to miss is reverse engineering their income goal. So be like, okay, in the run of a year, if I want 6 figures or multiple 6 figures, what does that look like at a monthly level? What's that look like with your launch strategy? If you don't want to be launching every single month, or if you do want more consistent income where it's like, okay, I want 20K months every month. And then correlating that over to how many hours am I working in client commitments based off these income levels, and how many hours am I going to be likely putting into support in between, WhatsApp support, building my business, creating leads, generating all the different pieces of my business there. And then a super important part is also tracking our cash flow, tracking the sales as we're doing it so that it's met. Again, I have whole masterclasses that I've done on this. So if you want particular pieces on the reverse engineering piece, if you want to like put reverse engineer in the chat, or again, email me, I can give you free masterclasses on those, because I really, really, really want coaches and healers and heart-centered humans to have awesome success in this world, and to like be abundant and serve from the overflow, because that's going to definitely make the world a better place. So that reverse engineering piece can prevent so many issues. I've noticed there's definitely a theme in a number of communities where people will be so focused on the short term of, I have bills this month, I have this immediate goal to do, that they don't necessarily plan out in the future. And even if like the idea of planning out a whole year doesn't feel good for you, like I'm still in the space where I'm a reflector. So I'm literally a mirror of the collective energy in the communities that I'm in. So planning out a whole year in advance of content and ideas and launches doesn't feel great for me, but I'm able to plan out, okay, what are my income goals? What in general, even if I don't have an exact title of something that I'm going to be launching, or an exact like content plan structured for XYZ amount of time, I do know at a high level where my kind of mile markers are going to be, so that I can ensure that I'm meeting them, and that I can adjust as I move and flow. So there's some people, especially with their human design, they can plan out a full year in advance. Some people that is like a fuck no for them, but at least having your numbers figured out, then you can be flexible with it. Then you can be like, okay, I have this structure in place, and it doesn't mean that in August I have to make 20K. It could be in July I make 40K, and then August I get to take off. You get to like flow with those energies if that works better for you. Okay. And again, I could go on and on and on forever and ever about all of these pieces, but I'm doing this at a high level for intentionality. The masculine and feminine harmony union is also so crucial. I talked about that a lot earlier, so I won't go deeper into that here. The grounded 3D work, where you show up in inspired action steps, is so, so, so crucial. And I talked about that earlier a lot as well. A new piece is your relationship with money and time, because sometimes people make money or time the problem, where they're like, I ran out of time. Oh, I can't do that. I can't afford it. Where they put the blame on the energetic of money or on the energetic of time. And just like take a step back for a moment and pretend that you now have a partner in life, whoever your partner is, that you blame all the time. That you blame them for why you can't do things, that you blame them for XYZ thing, regardless of if they had any energetic attachment to it at all. How would that relationship with that human be? if you just blame them all the time. Oh, we were late because of this person. Oh, I can't go on that vacation because of this person. Oh, I'd like to do that thing, but I can't because of this person. That person probably is not going to love being around you. It's probably not going to be a secure, fulfilling, amazing, loving ally, teammate, awesome partnership. So if you put that energetic on money or on time, things tend to not work out the best. But if you take full self-responsibility and you're like, I'm choosing to prioritize this in my time right now, or I'm choosing to prioritize utilizing my money on this goal, this project, this investment, then you're the one taking responsibility instead of blaming money or being like, I can't afford it. You get to be fully self-responsible. And I know sometimes our human parts really don't like that, because then we have to like feel the feelings of the disappointment or the shame or the frustration or the negative emotions that we were trying to push off by blaming money, time, other energies. Oh, it's not our fault. It's their fault. So I don't have to feel all the shitty feelings. So an important piece for this is tuning in and feeling those feelings, doing that inner work, connecting with those parts, and intentionally healing your relationship with time and with money so that they can be like best friends, allies, partners, cheerleaders on your journey, so that money shows up for you consistently. If you're like, oh, well, money comes and goes, or I'm in feast and famine, or whatever thing that you talk about, it's like money is an energy. You're co-creating that relationship with money. So do you want to know what it looks like and feels like through your higher power to feel even more safe with money and with your energetic relationship with it and with time? And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And you want to know what it looks like and feels like to even more deeply understand the human constructs around money and around time so that you can most optimally work with it and be in harmony and in alignment with a healthy relationship with them. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. Tuning into the comments, I've witnessed blaming causing really icky things. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Another piece that was coming through consciously to understand is humans created money. That it was literally intentionally set so that back in barter times, I didn't have to say, I have a cow and you have a wool shirt, but your wool shirt isn't equal to my entire cow. Okay, I have to now kill my cow to give you like a 20th of my cow for this wool shirt. Like, that didn't work. So instead of killing the cow to get a 20th of it to have that equal exchange, it's like, okay, well, let's make a currency and then we can just exchange the currency. And then that's easier for everyone instead of being like, well, I'm going to have to find 20 wool shirts that I like to equal my cow, but I don't need 20 wool shirts. Like, that was really inefficient. That was a headache. That didn't serve people all the time. So do you want to know what it looks like and feels like to reevaluate your relationship with currency and with money exchange so that you can ground into your higher power's truth, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding around how it can most optimally benefit you, the people that you serve and have sacred exchanges with, and the world at large as well? And if you'd like that, you can say yes. To attract more for the time I provide. Awesome. Do you want to know what it looks like and feels like to attract in the most ideal clients so that you can have humans in your world and ideal clients who value the work that you do for the financial energy exchange, that you can expand and amplify that so you can attract even more, and that you know what it looks like and feels like to feel safe receiving that. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And a conscious piece that's coming through for that one is like knowing your worth and knowing where to take the pieces. So I'm trying to be like, what's the most concise way I can play with? There's like two things that sometimes go around Facebook that are stories where like, let's do both. Okay. So there's a parable kind of story that a father gives his son a car or some type of item and he's allowed to sell it. So he's like, okay, before you sell it, go to this place and see how much you'll get for it. So he goes to like, I don't even remember the order of it. So let's just say he'll go to Facebook Marketplace and puts it on there. And the kind of average price that people would be willing to pay for that car is like $5,000. Cool. Goes to a junkyard. The junkyard would give him like $1,000 of scraps. Okay. He goes to a collector in town who understands the value of it, and the collector's willing to give him $100K. So it's like, depending on what spaces, what environments you're in, people are going to see the value of what you have differently. The other one that was coming through is there's sometimes like a meme that goes around on Facebook where there's like a brick of silver and it's like, okay, this brick of silver is worth this. If you make it into, or maybe it's like iron, something like that. I am butchering these analogies, but hopefully the energetic will come through. Maybe it's like iron. If you make it into horseshoes, it's worth like $50. If you make it into steel rods, it's worth like $100. If you make it into really tiny slivers for premium watches, it's worth like $100K. So there's those different pieces where it's like, okay, depending on what your superpowers are, what your gifts in the world are, some people will judge it and be like, okay, that's worth $1,000 to me, based on their income level, based on their impact, all those things, based on everything that they are and where you find them. Maybe that's worth $1,000 to them. If you go to a different community, a different container of humans, they might perceive that same exact service as $20K. You go to a different room and a different caliber of humans, they might see that as $100K value add to them and their business and their ability to generate cash flow in the future, or to prevent a fucking divorce happening and them immediately losing half of their assets. Like, different humans at different rooms will perceive it in a different way. So let me know if that was supportive for like the two different stories that were coming through, even though I probably butchered the exact details. That was great. Awesome. So for you, it feels like getting more clear on those ideal clients, which is great because we're going into that piece next, is going to be really supportive, because then you can tune into, okay, well, where do those people hang out? How can I network with them? How can I position myself to be of service to them so that they inherently will value it more, will pay you more, and be willing and excited and able to invest at that level with you. So that brings us to our last piece of receiving a visibility and throat chakra healing so you can speak to and attract your most ideal clients. So I invite you to close your eyes, tune into your body, and intentionally find an area that feels locked or constricted. We can play with the throat chakra energy. If you're like, no, it's here and I know that this is exactly where it is and I want to clear this out, you can play your own adventure, just tuning into one specific block that's been holding you back. Letting yourself feel that in your body, feel how big it is. And with your eyes closed, noticing what color it is. And if you could touch this old energy in your body, what's the temperature of it? And what's the texture of it? And can you feel into the emotion that's living there? And allow yourself to notice any body sensations with that energy. And then we're going to safely move this old energy outside of your body through your higher power and fill up that space where it used to be with unconditional love and healing energy. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. Breathe into that, and we're going to cut any and all cords, contracts, vows, oaths, or bonds that have been holding you to that energy or similar frequency energies as well. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. Now that this energy is safely outside your body, without any connections to you, we're going to simply ask it a question and just allow the first thought or first feeling to come through. So you can ask it, what were you trying to teach me? You can just notice. And then do you want to know what it looks like and feels like through your higher power to mark this lesson and similar frequency lessons to this energy as complete for you now? That you can choose to move forward and learn your lessons through even more ease, speed, grace, joy, and love in the future, knowing that it's safe and that you're able and that you're worthy and deserving to mark it as complete. And that you know who you are and what your life will look like and feel like having this lesson finished for you. And if you'd like all of that, you can say yes. And you want to see from your higher power's truth, wisdom, perspective, knowledge, and understanding why this lesson came through, why you've had quote unquote negative or bad experiences in the past around this, and receive deeper clarity around exactly why this block was protecting you or keeping you safe, or why you were still hanging on to it, why it was part of your comfort zone. And that from this space of understanding, you can see through your higher power how you can more healthily and optimally resource anything that you were trying to learn from it, anything that you were trying to get from it as a benefit, that you can see the different opportunities and ways that you can more healthily resource this in the future. And if you would like all of that, you can say yes. Do you want to clear, release, and let go of any and all pain, sorrow, grief, shame, guilt, or embarrassment at an energetic and cellular level around this block, these old lessons, that you can receive an instant healing from your higher power around this so that you can move forward. And you also want to forgive yourself for any and all roles and responsibilities that you played in having this block, having these quote unquote negative experiences. And that you can also forgive anyone else who was involved, who was just simply playing out as an actor on your stage as you tried to get this lesson, as you tried to complete this loop for yourself. And if you would like that forgiveness so that you can have a clean slate in moving forward, you can say yes. And from this more open and grounded space, do you want to know what it looks like and feels like through your higher power to be more visible to the ideal clients that you're desiring to attract? What it looks like and feels like to express who you are, how you serve them in a way that lands most optimally with them. And you want to know what it looks like and feels like to even more effectively and efficiently communicate with them so that they can move from a cold, warm, and hot lead very quickly and easily in your world. And you also want to know what it looks like and feels like to ground into the safety of trusting your divine timing, trusting their divine timing and their divine order in their life as well. And that you know what it looks like and feels like to honor all parts of you and all parts of them, trusting that you will work with your ideal clients when it's most optimal, when they're ready, when you're ready. And if you'd like all of that, you can say yes. And with all of these downloads, if you want to connect in and visualize one most ideal client right now, tuning into what their pain points are, what challenges they're struggling with that you can support them with so well. Tuning in and feeling into their desires, their goals that you can help them with. Just focusing on the energy of this one soul that you can serve, knowing that this energy can amplify to the other souls and all the other humans who will need you, who will desire to work with you. Just giving yourself permission to focus on one energetic at a time, trusting that it will be amplified out. And you want to see through your higher power how to most easily connect with this one human soul, and also what it looks like and feels like to be in the energetic of serving them and also attracting in similar humans who have similar problems and pain points, similar desires and needs. And that you know what it looks like and feels like to call them in, to speak directly to them in your marketing and your messaging. What it looks like and feels like to also easily be referred to them, be connected to them from others in your space, in your circles. And if you'd like to know what it looks like and feels like for this to be even more easeful and even more supportive, loving, and pleasurable, you can say yes. Then we can get your higher power to transmute that old block, that old energy into unconditional love. Have it sent out into the universe. And we're going to fill up your entire body, every cell of your being, and especially the space where that block used to live, with unconditional love, healing energy. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And you can take some deep breaths as that integrates in. You can open your eyes when you're feeling ready. And I'd love to know how that piece felt in your body, how your body is feeling now. And we're also going to integrate in all of the changes. And I can offer you a general healing for any and all other areas of your body, life, and business that are ready to be healed right now, and fill you up with your higher powers, unconditional love, compassion, peace, and prosperity. And if you would like all of that, you can say yes. You can take some really, really, really deep cleansing breaths, allowing that to integrate into your system. And I definitely recommend drinking lots and lots of water, staying hydrated. That definitely supports your body and releasing all the old energy, especially because we're 3D humans. So a lot of it can be cleared off from our energetic space, from our subconscious. And then sometimes we're like, okay, we want to like clear it out of our actual cells in our system. So being hydrated really supports our body in that process. Hmm. Thanks for the time. I've got another appointment to jump into. Beautiful. You are so welcome. It was my pleasure. Hmm. And as we come to the end of this energy, I invite anyone who feels complete to pop off. If you are curious in some potential next steps, I invite you to stay on if that's feeling like a yes for you. And I'll share some different ways that you can work with me and deepen into all of these different pieces. So if you're feeling complete, sending you so much love, definitely take care of yourself, drink lots and lots of water, honor your body, do whatever self-care you're called to. There was like a dark quote hood teaching me to reconnect with myself. Lots of tingles. Thank you for sharing, and you are so welcome. My pleasure. Beautiful. So if you are called to stay on a little bit longer, I am going to invite you to a pleasure and prosperity session with me. It is a complimentary call where we can get really clear on where you're at in your business right now, where you're desiring to be with your time freedom, your financial freedom, your next step goals, and how we can close those gaps quickly, easily, faster than you thought possible. You'll also get really clear on the number one piece to focus on. I'm a reflector in human design, so it like pops out to me like a neon sign, the next best area. And like the thing that has been blocking people or a belief system or something that they just like haven't been able to put their finger on shows up like a bright neon sign to me, which I'm grateful for that superpower. So we'll get really clear on that next big step for you. That focusing your time and energy there is going to make everything else so much easier or unnecessary, which is great. Kind of like domino pieces. It's like, yeah, if you just tick one, all the rest will fall into place. And then I'm also going to help you co-create a personalized plan for moving forward so that you can get the pleasurable business with the overflowing cup, the time freedom, and the financial freedom. And I have different ways of working with me right now. I have some openings in my private coaching, which I'm really excited about. And then I also have a new 6-month container starting soon, which I am so thrilled about because the lovely humans who were in my 8-ish week container, we started off 6 weeks and then I felt called to add in some extra bonus calls. So it ended up being more of like an 8-week container that was around aligning and healing to pleasurable high ticket sales. And humans in there sold their first 9K package, their first 3K package, had like amazing highest months that they've had before. So in the celebration of that energy, we tuned into some next steps and we co-created a 6-month container. If that's feeling like a potential yes for you, or if you're just curious about more information on that and you don't want to get on a call, you can type in "I'm curious." So wherever you're at, or if you're watching the replay, you can email me, "I'm curious." And when all of the details are ready to be shared, I can definitely get you those ahead of time so you get the special discount for being one of the first people who gets to be in the drawer for that. And yeah, my heart is always so happy just to support people. So if you're like, I'm not sure if I want to work with you at all, but I definitely want to get like the domino pieces done and get clear on some of those gaps and know how to close those gaps, I'd love to get on a call with you. And because I love doing this earlier in the year, I'm also going to have 3 30-minute private coaching and healing sessions for the first 3 humans who do book one of those calls. So I'm going to put in the chat the link to book the complimentary call. And if you're watching on Facebook, I'll do that as soon as I pop off on Zoom here, right after our Q&A. So the first 3 people who book their calls will also get a 30-minute coaching and healing session with me. So you don't only just get all the things I just outlined, you also get a 30-minute focus call to clear the stuff. So if you discover the gaps and we talk about subconscious belief systems or areas to work on, then you can actually get a separate 30-minute call where we focus on those things, where we do those clearings. So If you liked the energy of what we did today and you're curious about more, you can put in I'm curious. If you definitely want your call, I invite you to book it ASAP so that you can also get one of those 3 30-minute private coaching and healing spots with me. And then we get to move into one of my favorite parts, which is engaging with you all. So I'm going to pause the recording for this so that we can have a separate one with the Q&A. And I think I'm supposed to do a PNP call so I can share what's up and can see what's there to go from there. Awesome. I totally encourage you to do that. I felt like my block was a deep, dark fog that enveloped me, changed slowly to purple with an orange flare. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so we're going to pause the recording and then move into Q&A vibes.